Do not fall for all of Trump's pump fakes or head fakes saying he's got a deal. He's been saying for a year and a half he's a week away from a deal with Putin, and we know how that goes. Welcome to Independent Americans. Welcome to episode 591. I'm your host, Paul Rieckhoff, and welcome back to New York City, USA. I'm back. Had an amazing week in Space City, Huntsville, Alabama, Midland, Alabama. More on that in a second, but I am back here in New York, and the weather is turbulent. Raining, then sunny, then raining, then sunny. And it's a reminder that this summer it will be hot, it will be rainy, and there will be no days off. It will be constantly changing. That's what August is going to be. That's what the rest of this summer is going to be. That's what the rest of this year is going to be. And today's artist is a tribute to my trip to Alabama and Space City. It is the great Swedish rock legendary band Europe. You may remember them from The Final Countdown. A terrible version of it, but I sang it all week long. We played it all week long for my boys as they went into space camp and aviation challenge. My big guy learned how to be a fighter pilot. My little guy learned a lot of science and is now on path to be an astronaut. And we're going to need them to help us shoot for the stars and save the world. But we also need a little Europe to take us back to a simpler time. They also had hits like Rock the Night, Carrie, and Cherokee. But Europe reminds us that the final countdown is here. And the final countdown is coming, folks. We are almost at the midterms. We're counting down the days of the summer. But I'm going to help you stay ahead of it. I'm going to help you keep reaching for the stars and bring you the five eyes I bring you in every single show. Independence, integrity, information, inspiration, and impact. August is here. I'm back in New York. Let's get after it. Let's shoot for the stars, and let's stay vigilant. All right. In the summer, I'm going to adapt, improvise, and overcome. I'm going to give you some quick fire episodes. Been giving you our media episodes. If you didn't see last week or hear last week, Todd Achilles with the breakdown from Idaho's Senate race is a must. And my great and somewhat feisty conversation with J.B. Pritzker, the Illinois governor. Go back and check that out. It's all on our YouTube page. It's always at independentamericans.us, and it's always coming at you daily. But today's top topic is pretty straightforward. The chaos will continue. Yes, it's August, but the chaos will continue. Trump continues to put out bullshit information saying there might be a deal with Iran, and then the Iranians say no. So the Iran war now enters close to its 6th month, and I will ask everybody in the media especially, please, do not fall for all of Trump's pump fakes or head fakes saying he's got a deal. He's been saying for a year and a half he's a week away from a deal with Putin, and we know how that goes. But the chaos is continuing in Iran and in the Middle East, and here back home in Washington, the chaos is continuing as Congress is pushing before their huge break, which will be something like 6 weeks. And then they'll come back for a short stint, and then the election is here. But they're trying to jam a lot of stuff through, including Todd Blanche's nomination, which now may be getting a green light because he has again agreed to drop the weaponization fund, which I have spoken out strongly about because Trump wants to compensate insurrectionists for trying to overthrow the government. I think that's a bad idea. And so do some senators, including Republican John Cornyn and Republican Tom Tillis. They may or may not have a deal to move his nomination forward. We'll cover that this week. But the bottom line is the chaos will continue. Trump still talks about militarily attacking Cuba. There is chaos in our economy. Gas prices continue to be high. And I know in August, you just want to kind of check out and get ready for the rest of the summer and get ready for football. I was down in Alabama where I think school starts next week. But here in New York, it doesn't start until September 10th, which is a reminder that September 11th this year will be the 25th anniversary of September 11th. So it is a time to reflect, a time to remember when we were unified, when maybe simpler times, but times that were chaotic that we got through just like we will these. There will be no days off this summer. Even if you take a day off, the news and the politics and the chaos will continue, but I will help you keep trying to meet it with light to contrast the heat. But make no mistake, there will be no days off this August. The chaos will continue, and our enemies are celebrating.
Our enemies are celebrating.
All right, also way below the radar this August as we go into another week. Today, as you listen to this or download this or watch this, there will be 5 primaries. Did you know there are primaries? Well, you know there are if they're in your states. August 4th, we'll have primaries in Kansas, Michigan, Missouri, Virginia, and Washington. All are almost all semi-open, which is some good news for independents. They're not purely open, but Washington is a great example of what an open primary can look like, a much more level playing field can look like. The state of Washington having their primary this week, I hope it gets more coverage. It'll definitely get some here. But again, this is a time when many independents won't vote. Many independents don't know they can vote. But 45% of this country is us, independent Americans, and millions of us are still closed out of open primaries across the country. We are fighting to change it. We will continue to bring attention to it. We will continue to push back, as I did with Governor Kasich last week, who said that independents aren't real. You didn't hear my conversation. We replayed it yesterday. John Kasich, the former Republican governor of Ohio, says independents aren't real. They're just Democrats or Republicans who say they're independents, or maybe they're just confused. It's wrong. It's a slander. It's factually inaccurate. And I set him straight on MS Now, and I'm going to set him straight here. Welcome him to come back on this show to continue this conversation. But make no mistake, the partisans are going to tell you independents aren't real. Independents aren't authentic. Independents aren't growing. But we are. And there's no better example of it than a place like Washington State, which gives us something good. This episode of Independent Americans is sponsored by Kalshi. We make predictions every single day. We talk about it on this show: politics, pop culture, the economy, the biggest stories making headlines all across America and around the world. Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, lets you trade those predictions in a live market. If you haven't checked it out, now is the time, especially around politics and the elections. Will Trump buy at least part of Greenland? If you think he'll do that before 2027 and you wager $100, it'll pay out $2,019.24. If you think it's going to be before January 20th, 2029, it's 17%. You can also pick whether or not you think the Republicans or the Democrats are going to win Congress. You can pick who you think the Democratic nominee will be, who the Republican nominee. It would be great to see if there's an independent nominee. There's a lot that you can wager on, but on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. It's fun. And if you listen to this show, you can stay ahead of the curve. So download the Kalshi app and use the code INDEPENDENT and get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade 25, which is pretty good. Kalshi, 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 trade on anything. 18 and older, restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory. Independent Americans, now is the time. Check out Kalshi. This episode of Independent Americans is sponsored by Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth. I am very happy to introduce Independent Americans to Cozy Earth. If you haven't heard about them, they're awesome, especially in the summer. You guys know I'm out with my boys. I'm at baseball. I'm at football. We're at the pools and beaches and just getting dirty and all over the place. And I need really good towels. And they've got awesome pool towels that you can use for the beach, for the pool, for the car, for the truck, wherever you are.
even if you're not a pool person, they have really good bath towels that are amazing. They kind of feel like those really luxury towels you get when you come from a spa or a fancy hotel. They're super plush, absorbent. They suck up everything, and they really feel good when you're out for the summer. My kids love them, and it's cool because Cozy Earth stands behind everything they make with a 10-year warranty. They're oversized, ultra plush, completely built for your best summer days. So head to CozyEarth.com and check them out. Use the code Americans for an exclusive 20% off. That's code Americans for an exclusive 20% off. And if you see post-purchase survey, mention that you heard about Cozy Earth right here on Independent Americans, especially for the summer and for the fall. You need a great gift. Check out our friends at Cozy Earth. Independent Americans, I kindly recommend and highly recommend you check out our friends at Cozy Earth.
Something good, oh, something sweet, feel the fire.
All right, something good this week. In Washington state, there is one ballot, but 4 veterans. 4 independent veterans are running on the ballot. August 4th, 4 independent veterans will appear on Eastern Washington's top 2 primary ballot. If you're on our mailing list at Independent Veterans of America, you know this. If not, go and check it out. But it's a top 2 system, so they don't skip to November. They have to finish in the top 2 that day, this day, and we've got all the information at Independent Veterans of America. It's also linked in the show notes. But here's what you need to know. Where the 4 are running. All 4 races sit in Washington's 5th district, Eastern Washington. 3 of them center on Spokane. Together, that's a veteran and independent electorate on August 4th on the ballot that encompasses roughly 131,000 independents will vote or have the potential to vote in Washington's 5th. That means 53,000 independent veterans. So same day, same ballot, top 2 advance. They don't have separate party primaries, which is how it should be. Every candidate, Democrat, Republican, Independent, shares one August ballot, and only the 2 highest finishers move on to November. And then you've got the clash, the final election. For an independent, that changes everything because there's no petitioning quietly onto the fall ballot. You win a spot on August 4th, and you're in. And there are 4 of them that have a chance. 1 ballot, 4 candidates, all 4 independent veterans who are running for their chance. In the U.S. House, Washington's 5th, that's Nate Powell. He is a Marine Corps veteran and a Spokane firefighter, running as an independent for Congress. In Washington's 5th, a reminder, 53,106 independent veterans can vote there and 131,000 independents overall. In Spokane County, for prosecutor, Danny Tarkenton. She's an Army veteran running for Spokane County prosecuting attorney. Countywide in Spokane, there are 41,887 veterans who can vote there inside a registered pool of 377,000 registered voters overall. 87,999 are independent. So this is a race to watch. This is a place to watch. Also, in Legislative District 6 for the State House, Aaron Croft is running. Aaron is an Air Force veteran running for the Washington State House, and veterans in this Legislative District 6 are about 13,800. There are about 25,000 independents in that district of roughly 108,000 registered voters. And in Legislative District 7 for State Senate, Ronald McCoy is a veteran running in Washington State's 7th District, where there are about 12,394 veterans, an estimated 26,000 independents, which is nearly half the district. And this will be key. So it's 4 races, decisive blocks. These constituencies overlap and can't really be summed, but each one onto its own is decided by a veteran and an independent electorate this large. That's who picks the top 2. So Washington's 5th, Spokane County, Legislative District 6, Legislative District 7. These blocks will decide who advance. Tens of thousands of veterans and hundreds of thousands of independents live in these 4 races. On today's primary, August 5th, they will choose the top 2. This is a story that most of the media is not going to cover, but we will cover it here on Independent Americans. We're always at the intersection of politics and the independent movement, always with a focus on national security and veterans issues and conflict and foreign affairs. But these are 4 leaders you need to know about. This is a primary you need to focus on. Whether you live in the Spokane region, if you live in Washington State, or if you live in America or beyond, this is the battlefield this week for our independent movement. It is the key next phase in our fight to save America. And we keep saying it. Leave the partisan herds. Join the pack. The pack is surging in eastern Washington this week. And that is something good. That is a reason to watch. It is way below everybody's radar. But for our movement especially, it's a time for us all to stay vigilant. All right, folks, I'm going to keep you vigilant all summer long, giving you this kind of content that you can't get anywhere else. We got some great guests coming up. I think we're going to get Senator Angus King, the independent senator, back on the podcast. I just got confirmation that we will have Heather Manchin and Senator Joe Manchin on the show coming up in the next couple of days. You may have seen Senator Joe Manchin, the independent from West Virginia, the former Republican, who has announced a new effort to support independent candidates for office this fall. They're going to support a number of them. We're going to have them on the show. We're going to talk about it. We're going to learn more. I think you're going to want to hear that. We've also got asks out to Don Bacon again, to lots of governors, to Jesse Ventura, to many others. It's going to be a big August. It's going to be a big fall, and we're going to keep you ahead of the curve. Focus not on just what's happening now, but what's happening next. We're daily now. You heard it back a couple months ago. We hit number 15 on the charts. Thank you for supporting that. Be sure to follow us everywhere, subscribe, leave us all the stars, do all the things. And if you haven't already, sign up for the Morning Independent. We've got a daily newsletter, TMI. Too much information? No, the Morning Independent. Go to independentamericans.us. You can sign up. It's linked in the show notes. It's awesome, and it's completely free. Skip all those other shitty newsletters, the corporate newsletters, the partisan newsletters. You also get every podcast popped in your inbox, and you can spread the word and keep this movement growing. Be sure to check out our generous sponsors who make this episode possible, including Kalshi and our new sponsors at Cozy Earth. Check out Noble Mobile and our friends at Independent Voter News. They are a critical part of this movement, and we're thankful to have their support. This August, Americans might be more divided than ever before, but here at Independent Americans, we're working to change that, to add light, to contrast the heat. You see it now. It's happening. You're hearing more and more about independence. You're hearing more and more about independent candidates. You're hearing more and more of your friends who are leaving the parties, like 10,000 other people every single week. So if you're now among the 45% of Americans who are independent, this is your show. Look for me also on CNN, on MS Now, on News Nation, and on lots of podcasts and other places. Send me your feedback. I want to hear what you think we should do to improve this show and grow this movement, because it's not just a podcast. It is a media ecosystem, and it is a movement. And that movement is the hope for the future. Country over party, people over politics, light over heat, challenging the status quo. And we're hitting it hard, folks. Now you're seeing it, especially with these Senate races that are getting more attention, like Todd Achilles in Idaho, Seth Bodnar in Montana, Dan Osborne in Nebraska. You heard about these things here first, and you're going to hear about them in other places as they continue to follow our lead, because our movement is growing. And like Washington State, Eastern Washington State, we're bringing hope that is the oxygen of democracy. So if you enjoyed this episode, please share it far and wide. Invite others to declare their independence this summer, and stay vigilant, my friends, because eternal vigilance is the price of freedom. No, you're not alone in your vigilance. We're all vigilant, and we're all in this together. I'm your host, Paul Rieckhoff. Thank you for tuning into Independent Americans. Thank you again to all my friends in Alabama. If you watched SummerSlam last night, what'd you think? Or over the weekend? I was a little shocked that Cody Rhodes lost to CM Punk. But we'll have more on wrestling. Maybe we'll get Mick Foley back on the show. We'll continue to talk about football and much more, because August is here, folks, and we are not taking any days off, because the news won't either, and I'll help you get ahead of it and stay ahead of it. Happy August, everybody, and stay vigilant, America. Stay vigilant.
Archipelago, he tells me the left and right are dreams for those without a clue. And when you wake, it's time to grow. And it's not cool to believe in school, but if I can say one thing, I've seen the children of the revolution and the good trouble they can bring. He says the red and blue are dead and independent is an attitude. An island in the sea of rhetoric, and archipelago, he tells me the left and right are dreams for those without a clue. And when you wait, it's time to grow.
Powered by Righteous Media.